we are going to learn about the different ecosystems here in our Science 6 class. In our previous episode, we learned about the different characteristics of invertebrates, specifically the cnidarians, platyhelminthes, nematodes, and annelids. So, let's check your knowledge.
Directions. Identify to which group of invertebrates the following animals belong. Write your answers on your paper. For this activity, you are given 10 seconds to answer it.
Science-minded learners, your time is up. Now, let's check your work.
Very good. Number 1 is a picture of a jellyfish. The jellyfish belongs to the group of cnidarians. Number 2 is a picture of a planaria. A planaria belongs to the group of platyhelminthes. Number 3 is a picture of ascaris. Ascaris belongs to the group of nematodes. Number 4 is a picture of an earthworm. An earthworm belongs to the group of annelids.
Wow! Very good, science-minded learners! You really remember our lesson in the previous episode. Now, it's time to open your treasure box. Wow! 2 diamonds for performing our activity perfectly. Science-minded learners, are you ready to start and learn from our new Science Exciting episode? I'm sure you are! Today, we shall enjoy learning and answering different activities about tropical rainforests.
For today's episode, we shall learn to first, describe the components and physical conditions of tropical rainforest. Second, demonstrate understanding of the interaction among living things and non-living things in tropical rainforest. Third, give the importance of tropical rainforest.
So, let's shout together! We are ready! Science-minded learners, have you gone to the forest? Study the picture on the screen and let's answer the questions afterwards. In order to know your observations on the picture, let's answer the guide questions.
Number 1. What ecosystem is shown in the picture? Very good. It's a tropical rainforest ecosystem. Number 2. How will you describe the ecosystem? That's great. An ecosystem is composed of living things or biotic factors and non-living things or abiotic factors that exist and interact with one another. Number 3. What are the biotic factors you find in the tropical rainforest? That's great! The biotic factors are the animals like frog, tiger, deer, ants, different kinds of birds, and other organisms like worms. There are also different kinds of trees, grasses, and mosses. Number 4. What are the abiotic factors you can find in the tropical rainforest? Very good! The abiotic factors in the tropical rainforest are the soil, stones, oxygen, carbon dioxide, rainfall, and sunlight.
That was a good performance! You were able to answer the guide questions correctly. It only shows that science-minded learners are always ready for our lesson. Now, let's open the treasure box. Wow! 3 sapphire stones. There you go. Let's put the 3 sapphire stones inside the jar. Tropical rainforests are very dense, warm and wet forests located in the band of equator, mostly in the area of Tropic of Cancer. Tropical rainforests are found in South America, Australia, West Africa, Southern India, and Southeast Asia. The Philippines has tropical rainforest. Interaction occurs among species in the rainforest ecosystem. The trees and shrubs are the producers. They provide food for the herbivores. And herbivores provide food for the carnivores living in the ecosystem. Herbivores and carnivores are called consumers.
Feeding relationships like food chain and food web occur among species in the forest ecosystem. Food chain starts with producer, a series of consumers and decomposers. Food web results from the interconnected food chains.
Let's get to know more about the interactions in the tropical rainforest. There are different organisms living in this ecosystem, which interact with each other. There are interactions that exist among the organisms in the tropical rainforest.
First relationship is commensalism. Commensalism is an interaction where organisms live together without harming one another. For example, an orchid is attached to the trunk of a tree without harming it. Second is mutualism. In mutualism, both organisms benefit in the relationship. For example, a bee or butterfly sucks nectar from a flower and the flower reproduces. Third is competition. Competition is an interaction wherein organisms compete for survival. For example, grass, shrubs, flowers, and trees grow together in one area where they compete for source of food, sunlight, soil, nutrients, and other things needed for their survival. Fourth is predation. Predation is a kind of interaction in which one organism kills smaller organisms for food. An example of this is when a snake eats a rat for food. Predators are usually organisms which are stronger, bigger, and fiercer compared to prey.
Science-minded learners, it's trivia time!
Hello, energetic science-minded learners. I am Mr. Villacora, the forester. Hello, Teacher Pam.
Hello, Mr. Villacora. What information can you share to us today?
Science-minded learners, do you know that rainforest has different layers, namely emergent, canopy, understory, and forest floor? The top layer of the rainforest is the emergent layer. Here, trees as tall as 60 meters dominate the skyline. Beneath the emergent layer is a canopy, a deep layer of vegetation roughly 6 meters thick. The canopy's dense network of leaves and branches forms a roof over the 2 remaining layers. Located several meters below the canopy, the understory is an even darker, stiller, and more humid environment. Plants here, such as palms and philodendrons, are much shorter and have larger leaves than plants that dominate the canopy. Understory plants' large leaves catch the minimal sunlight, reaching beyond the dense canopy. The forest floor is home to animals like jungle cats, click beetle, giant anteater, and many forest animals which thrive in a deep shade part of the forest, where plant life is thin. This is because only a small percent of sunlight gets through the thick canopy and understory and reaches the forest floor. Organisms like fungi, insects, and worms litter from taller trees that fall on the forest floor can be found here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Villac Paper and Self-Learning Module, for we are going to learn about the coral reef ecosystems and its interactions here in our Science 6 class. In our previous episode, we learned about the different components and physical conditions in the rainforest ecosystem and its different interactions. So, let's check your knowledge.
Directions. Identify the interactions of the following organisms in the rainforest ecosystem. Write your answers on your paper. Number 1. The interaction between the bird's nest and the branch of a tree. That's right. The correct answer is commensalism. Organisms are living together but without harming one another. Number 2. The interaction between the rat and the hawk. That's good. The correct answer is predation. The rat is eaten by the hawk for food. The rat is the prey and the hawk is the predator. Number 3. The interaction between the grass and the flower in a pot. That's right. The correct answer is competition. The grass and the flower compete with one another for the soil nutrients in the pot. Number 4. The interaction between the tick birds and rhinoceros. Very good. The correct answer is mutualism. The tick birds perched on the back of the rhinoceros to get food and help the rhinoceros get rid of the pests.
Wow! Very good, science-minded learners! You really remember our lesson in the previous episode. Now, it's time to open your treasure box. Wow! 2 diamonds for performing our activity perfectly. Science-minded learners, are you ready to start and learn from our new Science Exciting episode? I'm sure you are! Today, we shall enjoy learning and answering different activities about the coral reef ecosystem.
For today's episode, we shall learn to first, describe the components and physical conditions of coral reefs. Second, demonstrate understanding of the interaction among living things and non-living things in coral reefs. Third, give the importance of coral reef.
Science-minded learners, have you seen coral reefs? Study this picture on the screen and let's answer the activity afterwards.
Directions. Study the picture on the screen. Then list down the biotic and abiotic components found in the coral reef ecosystem.
Your time is up! Now, let's check your work.
Let's first list the abiotic components found in the coral reef ecosystem. We will put our answers on column A, abiotic components. Very good! The first abiotic component found is sand. The second abiotic component found is water. The third abiotic component is gas, like oxygen. Now, let's answer column B, biotic components. The biotic components found in the coral reef ecosystem are very good. The first biotic component found are the corals. The second biotic components found are the different kinds of fishes. The third biotic component found are mammals like dolphin and whales.
That was a good performance. You were able to answer the guide questions correctly. It only shows that the science-minded learners are always ready for our lesson. Now, let's open the treasure box. Wow! 3 sapphire stones. There you go. Let's put the 3 sapphire stones inside the jar. Coral reef serves as a habitat for many animals. It's a breeding ground of marine life. It is composed of biotic components and abiotic components.
In coral reef ecosystem, the organisms interact with each other for survival. The producers like seagrass provide food and nutrients to the consumers. These consumers include sea turtles, crabs, manatees, fish, and other marine animals.
Now, let's learn more of these interactions.
The first interaction is commensalism. Commensalism is an interaction where organisms live together without harming one another. For example, barnacles attached on skin of turtles without harming them. Barnacles are benefited while the host is not harmed. The second interaction is mutualism. In mutualism, both organisms benefit in the relationship. For example, the corals receive oxygen from the algae. The algae get protection from them. The third interaction is competition. Competition is an interaction wherein organisms compete for survival. For example, the fishes compete for source of food and space in the coral reef. The fourth interaction is predation. Predation is a kind of interaction in which one organism kills smaller organisms for food. An example of this is when a big fish eats a small fish. The predator, which is a big fish, benefits in the interaction while the prey, a small fish, is harmed. The fifth interaction is parasitism. Parasitism is a kind of interaction where one organism, the parasite, depends on another organism for food. Production and reproduction. An example of this is when the worm lives in the guts and flesh of fish. The worm is benefited while the fish is harmed by the parasite.
Coral reefs are built when exoskeletons of corals composed of calcium carbonate or lime accumulates in large quantities. This large accumulation happens as the limey exoskeletons of one generation of stony corals are secreted on the exoskeletons of the past generation. Corals can take millions of years to form a reef. For our activity today, we will study how organisms interact in coral reef ecosystem. The materials we need are the following:
Aquarium water pans, fishes, aquarium with water, stones, and corals. Procedures. First, place the washed stones in a clean aquarium with water. Second, add few water pans, corals, and fishes. Third, place the aquarium in a lighted area but not under the direct sunlight.
Wow! Science-minded learners, now you have a sample of a coral reef ecosystem. Now, let's observe how they interact. Mangrove swamp ecosystem.
For today's episode, we shall learn to first, describe the components and physical conditions of mangrove swamps. Second, demonstrate understanding of the interaction among living things and non-living things in mangrove swamps. Third, give the importance of mangrove swamps.
Science-minded learners, have you visited a mangrove swamp in your locality? What are the things that you have found there? What are your observations of the interactions of the different organisms living in the mangrove swamp?
Directions. Study the picture of the mangrove swamp ecosystem on the screen. Then, using the table below, pick out the animals that can be found in the mangrove swamp ecosystem.
Science-minded learners, look at the table on the screen. Pick out the animals that can be found on the mangrove swamp ecosystem. Now, let's check your work.
The animals that can be found in the mangrove swamp ecosystem are: from the first line, that's correct, monitor lizard. From the second line, that's right, white heron. From the third line, that's good, fiddler crab. From the fourth line, that's right, oysters. From the fifth line, very good, fish.
Welcome back! It's good that you're still here with me.
It's trivia time! Science-minded learners, if you will observe and compare mangrove trees from other trees, what will be the unusual thing you can see? That's right! It's their stilt and arching roots.
Hi, science-minded learners! Hello, Teacher Pam. I'm Ma'am Lorna, an environmentalist at your service. Mangrove trees are unusual because they are specially adapted to live in wet, salty, and muddy swamps. Their stilt-like arching roots trap mud brought down to the sea by rivers and help to transform coastal swamps into dry land. They grow densely that they help to protect the coast from storms and floods. Furthermore, mangroves are also odd because they breathe air through their arching roots. They need to do this because there is little oxygen in the wet mud. The seeds that mangroves produce start to grow on the
There you are! Salam! Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings of peace, mercy, and blessings, science-minded learners. Welcome to another science exciting episode with me, Teacher Pam, your science chum. Get ready with your pen, paper, and self-learning module, for we are going to learn about the protection and conservation of the ecosystem here in our Science 6 class. In our previous episode, we learned about the components of a mangrove swamp ecosystem and its different interactions. So, let's check your knowledge.
Directions. Match the interactions of the given pair of organisms in column A and its interaction in column B. Connect lines to show your answer. Write your answers on your paper. Number 1. The relationship between the heron and small fish. That's good. The answer is predation.
Number 2. The relationship involves in the lichen growing in the mangrove tree. That's right. The correct answer is A. Mutualism.
Number 3. The relationship between pelican, white heron, and eagle.
Good. The answer is B, competition. And number 4, the relationship between barnacles in the mangrove trees. Very good. The answer is D, commensalism.
Wow! Very good, science-minded learners! You really remember our lesson from the previous episode. Now, it's time to open your treasure box. Wow! 2 diamonds for performing our activity perfectly. Science-minded learners, are you ready to start and learn from our new science-exciting episode? I'm sure you are! Today, we shall enjoy learning and answering different activities about protection and conservation of ecosystem.
For today's episode, we shall learn to first, identify ways of protecting and conserving the ecosystem. Second, demonstrate the necessary actions to help preserve and conserve the ecosystem. Third, give the importance of the ecosystem.
The ecosystem is an environment where both living and non-living things exist and interact with one another in order to survive. As what we have studied, there are 3 types of ecosystem: the tropical rainforest, the coral reefs, and the mangrove swamp ecosystems. To become more motivated in our today's episode, let's answer this activity.
Directions. Identify what type of ecosystem is shown in the picture. Write your answers on your paper. Number 1. What ecosystem is shown in the picture? That's right! It's a picture of a coral reef ecosystem. Number 2. What ecosystem is shown in the picture? Very good! It's a picture of a mangrove ecosystem. And number 3. What ecosystem is shown in the picture? Great! It's a picture of a tropical rainforest ecosystem.
That was a good performance. You were able to answer the guide questions correctly. It only shows that the science-minded learners are always ready for our lesson. Now, let's open the treasure box. Wow! 3 sapphire stones. There you go. Let's put the 3 sapphire stones inside the jar. The living things that live in one place depend on their environment. They form relationships with other living things and with non-living things in their habitats in order to survive. Together, they form an ecosystem. An ecosystem can be natural and artificial. Natural ecosystem operates by itself without being interrupted by human beings. The examples of these are the terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem. The artificial ecosystem, on the other hand, is man-made and manually or artificially maintained. The examples of these are the sugarcane and corn plantations, wheat and rice fields, as well as gardens and orchards.
A tropical rainforest is simply an area where tall, mostly evergreen trees grow and with high amount of rainfall. Coral reefs serve as habitat for many animals. They are breeding ground for marine lives. They are composed of non-living components such as water and sand, and living components such as fish, crustaceans, mollusks, cnidaриans, sponges, and echinoderms. Mangrove swamp ecosystem is composed mostly of mangrove plants and animals like crustaceans and migratory birds. It is an important system that allows the breeding of fishes and the survival of other marine animals. It is also a part of coastal and marine ecosystems. Today, tropical rainforests, coral reefs, and mangrove swamps are disappearing from the face of the globe. Despite growing international concern, these are continuing to be destroyed. These destructions have a global impact through species extinction, the loss of important ecosystem services and resources. However, these destructions can be slowed, stopped, and in some cases even reversed. We need to protect and conserve the Earth's resources. We need to give high value to our tropical rainforests, coral reefs, and mangrove swamps.
Here are some ways to protect and conserve these natural resources.
Number 1. Habitat restoration. Number 2. Reforestation or replanting of trees in a forest. Number 3. Mangrove rehabilitation. Number 4. Wildlife conservation, which includes protecting a sanctuary where animals live. Number 5. Supporting projects of the government and non-government organizations that protect tropical rainforests, coral reefs, and mangrove swamps. And lastly, number 6. Joining organizations that conduct educational campaigns and give information on how to protect and conserve our ecosystem.
Being responsible to the development and restoration of Earth's resources like the tropical rainforests, mangrove swamps, and coral reefs are keys for the long-term benefits to mankind. It's activity time! Let's answer this activity to further deepen your understanding of our lesson today.
Directions. Study the pictures on the screen and tell if they help in the preservation and conservation of the ecosystem. Picture number 1. This is a picture of illegal cutting of trees. What can you say about this? That's right. Illegal cutting of trees is not good. It's not the proper way of showing that we love and care for our environment. Illegal cutting of trees in the forest destroys the habitat of the different organisms living in the forest. Picture number 2. This is a picture of hunting wild animals in the forest. What can you say about this? That's good. Hunting of wild animals in the forest is prohibited. This is because many of the wild animals have become extinct and endangered. Limitless hunting of wild animals in the forest destroys the balance of our ecosystem. Picture number 3. This is a picture of mangrove planting. What can you say about this? Very good. Mangrove planting is one way of showing an action in preserving and conserving our mangrove swamp ecosystem. Picture number 4. This is a picture of dynamite fishing. What can you say about it? That's correct. Dynamite fishing is a destructive form of fishing. It is not good practice and it destroys coral reefs, which are the habitat of many marine organisms. It also kills the small fishes and causes water pollution. This activity doesn't show preservation and conservation of our ecosystem.
Well done! You really make me proud as your teacher. You got all the correct answers and it only shows that you are really attentive and eager to learn. So, let's open your treasure box. Wow! It's a diamond! Congratulations for having awarded with diamond for this activity.
We'll continue our lesson for today after this short break.
time with Mr. Echo, the ecologist.
Hello, science-minded learners. We know that our ecosystem is composed of different species of organisms. Here are some of the facts about some animals. First, blue whales are the largest animals ever known to have lived on Earth. These magnificent marine mammals rule the oceans at up to 100 feet long and upwards of 200 tons. Their tongues alone can weigh as much as an elephant. Second, giraffes are the world's tallest mammals thanks to their towering legs and long necks. A giraffe's legs alone are taller than many humans, about 6 feet. These long legs allow giraffes to run as fast as 35 miles an hour over short distances and cruise comfortably at 10 miles an hour over long distances. Third, the fastest flying bird is the peregrine falcon, which has been estimated to reach the speed of up to 320 kilometers per hour as it stoops out the sky to attack other birds. The smallest bird is the bee hummingbird. It measures a mere 2¼ inches long and weighs less than 2 grams, while the largest bird is the ostrich. A male ostrich can reach a height of 2.8 meters and weighs over 156 kilograms.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Teacher Pam. I am always happy and ready to share my knowledge to our science-minded learners.
Hello, Teacher Pam. I've been looking for you.
Oh, why, Cece?
I have a homework, Teacher Pam, and I need to gather some ideas about it.
What is it all about, Cece?
Here it is, Teacher Pam.
Directions. Read the question carefully and give your opinion about the given question. Explain why we need to protect our tropical rainforest, coral reefs, and mangrove swamp ecosystems.
Okay, Cece. Let us also ask the help of our science-minded learners about this. Science-minded learners, are you willing to help and share your ideas? I know you are, so let's answer the homework.
That's right. Our tropical rainforest needs to be protected because, first, it is the home of many species of plants and animals. It is their habitat. Second, the tropical rainforest serves as watersheds. Forest soil and roots of big trees absorb so much rain. Some of this water is used by plants and much flow underground, which became the source of water supply for home and industries. Third, forests help in maintaining global climate change. Very good! Our coral reefs need to be protected because, first, it is the breeding ground and home of many marine life species. Second, we get our resources for survival from the river, seas, and oceans. Third, it protects coastlines from strong waves and water current. Great! Our mangrove swamp ecosystem needs to be protected because, first, it serves as the breeding and nesting grounds of different species. Second, it acts as a natural barrier and flood defense in the coastlines. Third, it provides a source of livelihood.
Wow!